Ethiopian, good to see you again. It just seems like a few days we spoke. But let's get the latest. I mean, it seems that we're hearing that things are intensifying in Ethiopia. It seems that there is some kind of movement, if not from the Tigrayans, but then at least from the people of Addis Ababa. What's the latest, sir?
Thank you. The Tigray Defense Force, allied with Oromo Liberation Army, are pushing farther south toward the capital city, Addis Ababa. Up until yesterday, they are around a town of Shoarobit, which is about 200 kilometers to the north of the capital city, Addis Ababa. This is what is on the side of the rebels pushing towards the government capital. And the government itself is bombarding civilian locations. It continued to bombard civilian settlements in southern parts of Wollo, Oromo settlements. And this has already caused several casualties. Again, in the capital city, Addis Ababa, the government is organizing the youth in the name of protecting the capital city. The youth has now been given the right to search cars and anybody they want to search and any house they want to search. And this has caused a number of chaos, particularly in major cities around Addis Ababa and in the capital city, Addis Ababa itself, because the youth in most cases used this opportunity to rob people's residence and shopping centers. And that is how the government is causing chaos, and it's assembling the remaining soldiers from the northern part of the country into the capital city, Addis Ababa, and around Addis Ababa to I think, protect the capital city in the last minute.
Okay. We've heard that some international involvement could happen with Anthony Blinken getting involved. Do you think this could particularly maybe open negotiations between the two sides? Is that possibility, and maybe stop any more advances or any more fighting?
Sure, the international community is doing its best, particularly the African Union and the United States are doing what they can. They are talking to the government in Addis Ababa and the Tigray government in the north. But there are lots of challenges for this kind of negotiation to succeed. In the first place, it's too late. And Tigray is still, we must remember, it's in a blockade. No medicine is allowed into Tigray, no fuel, no aid is allowed into Tigray. So in a number of ways, it's too late. The second thing, the understanding of the international community in the way they want to negotiate and who they want to involve, I think there is a deep misunderstanding there. So negotiating TDF or Tigray Defense Force with Addis Ababa would not bring an end to the conflict. There are many other bodies that are rivaling the government in Addis Ababa, and unless you bring all stakeholders together, you would not achieve the negotiation to succeed. So I believe there is a little chance of success to achieve a ceasefire.
I understand. I mean, with the Tigrayan forces really at the door of Addis Ababa, if there is a big push to take the city, will Abiy Ahmed just lay down, or will he fight to the bitter end?
It's important to emphasize here that the Tigray Defense Force time and again stated in public that it has no purpose to accomplish in the capital city, Addis Ababa. What it wants is only the arrest of responsible people in their belief, the arrest of responsible people who caused this mayhem, the problem in Tigray. But the Oromo Liberation Army may be a force that is going to take over Addis Ababa, because Oromo claim over Addis Ababa, the capital city, is very strong and legitimate. By the way, Addis Ababa itself is located in the region of Oromia, and it is the capital city of the regional state as well. So perhaps, yes, TDF will push as far south as Addis Ababa, but Addis Ababa may be controlled by Oromo Liberation Army.
Okay, and will Abiy Ahmed lay down, or will he fight to the end, do you think?
So far, he did not show any intention of laying down or even showing a very good interest to negotiate, even at the last minute. Last time, he reflected on how the last military dictator, Mengistu Haile Mariam, left the country. He said he was deceived and he was not supposed to leave the country, by which he meant, don't expect me to leave this country. I will fight until the last minute. But I don't think he is going to do that once the last stronghold of the Abiy Ahmed's government, which may be around Debre Birhan, farther south to where TDF and Oromo Liberation Army are located today. Once that military base is broken, I think he has very little chance of staying in the capital city, Addis Ababa.
Okay, so thank you. Before I let you go, I have one more last question. What worries me is that if the forces from the east and the north do attack Addis Ababa, civilians could get in the crossfire, because we've seen some news reports that civilians are willing to fight for Addis Ababa. Could this get quite messy?
That's a serious concern because the main problem about the government of Abiy Ahmed is that the government is not doing enough to protect civilians. Even when they lost battles in battlefronts, they retreat into capital in cities and towns, and sometimes entrench in residential areas to fight the soldiers that won over them in the battlefield. And they are showing enough signs to do so in the capital city, Addis Ababa now. If the allied forces, Abiy Ahmed's soldiers, Amara soldiers, and other allied forces, including Eritrea, wants to fight in the capital city, Addis Ababa, that would cause a serious damage to the civilian population. And that is a serious concern. I think the rebels are doing what they can to finish war outside towns. And when they get into towns, the civilian settlements must always be protected, but the government is not doing enough.
I understand. Ethena, thank you so much for joining me here on A News and bringing us up to speed on how things are. We'll talk again soon, no doubt, sir. Thank you for your time. Take care and stay safe.